Click all my buttons. Oh my gosh, I got so many buttons to click. Okay, they can record.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Okay, so welcome, Jane. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited to kind of highlight a variety of things that you've accomplished and done. How are you feeling?
Amazing. I'm so excited. Thank you for asking about highlighting my business. This is coming at such a rewarding time for me. I've had my best quarter ever personally and professionally, and it's just been such an abundant year and such an abundant space that, I mean, way to ask me about it when we're at the high. So it feels really good, and I'm excited to share about kind of how I got there, because that's usually the follow-up question when people say, "Oh, you're wonderful. Why are you wonderful?" And happy to share.
Awesome. So let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
What was happening in your business before you joined Reignite?
So I always would assess that I've been showing up in my business. I was closing deals and coaching consulting clients in nonprofit and for-profit, closing deals in real estate and commercial and residential. I had some tiny structure I had convinced myself, but I could see some major pockets. And I kind of realized that, it's like the phrase, the cobbler's kid has no shoes. The business consultant's business actually could use somebody else's eyeballs on it. And on a comprehensive note, considering how disparate occasionally audiences could be from consulting to real estate. And I actually found them very unified, but when I expressed professionally how that went, sometimes people found it a little bit disjointed. And so I knew that there was some kind of refinement and some kind of fine tuning that needed to happen in the overall presentation of my brand. And as a person who is interested in refining and learning and kind of continuing like that, I reached out obviously to you and asked for, a space in Reignite after starting coaching. So, I mean, I was really excited to begin Reignite, and it's kept me from reinventing the wheel every week. It has given me flow. It has given me a group of people to call my team, which is so great. And my team handles so much, and your team handles so much, and they produce such quality material for me that's supportive of my business and help pass such important strategic kind of workflow and brain power decisions. It's so helpful to kind of work with that team. So that's kind of where I was and kind of why I made that decision to go into Reignite. And it's just, I couldn't manually manage everything. And so finding a way to systemize it and finding a team that understood what systemizing actually means across disciplines was really transformational for my business. And it's, I've been with Reignite since October of last year, and it is May now. So it has been like barely 3 quarters with Reignite, and to be in my 3rd quarter with Reignite and my best year ever and my best quarter ever. And it's been stacking like that since working with you. It feels like some compound interest. For sure. I know I said your word. Yeah. I talked dirty to you. I said compound interest, not simple interest. So, I mean, it's
That is
just,
dirty talk. I love
yeah,
it.
I know. It was really a good one. And I mean, my clients love when I talk about that and talk about returns and multiples. And I wouldn't be able to take on this bandwidth and have as much ease in my life. I genuinely had no recognition that this amount of this volume of transformation within my clients' lives in real estate and in business consulting could happen while my life transformed into a smooth, peaceful, easeful, deeply enriched thing, and give me a chance to give back even. I mean, it's really touching and absolutely has changed every day.
So tell me a little bit about like the biggest shift in your business since starting. If you had to pick one thing that created a massive point of impact for you, your business, and the trajectory, what would it be?
So what I love about coaching and a lot about Reignite is the power of structure and the discipline and accountability of consistency and understanding how minute we mean about consistency. I don't mean always reaching out to a client within 24 to 48 hours to provide ABC. That's always exactly the same thing. I mean consistency in how I show up for myself, how I care for my own personal space, how I manage my time, how my time gives back to me, how I can buy some of my time back to make it work even further for myself, my family, my community, my clients. And so I think the biggest shift for me was the security of knowing that consistency was possible, both being accountable with weekly meetings, with daily check-ins effectively, with a constant connection to this team, that's really proactive in managing. And so it's been really joyous to be a proactive leader in a space that responds like that and flows like that. And so I know that I'm in great alignment with the company that I keep for my company. And so that consistency has been absolutely transformational. And I think the supportive group of everyone understanding that the consistency isn't just in your business, it's in your day-to-day life is huge. Those personal practices have made a big deal in my content, my clients, like my income, everything.
Was there a specific moment that affirmed all of the consistency to be something that was a trajectory you desired to stay on? So I know that when you entered this quarter, you kind of cheekily said to me, Rebecca, I'd like to hit 100,000 this quarter, whatever. And I was like, okay. And your face in that moment, I wish I could do that someplace because your face was like, wait, what?
But
So tell me a little bit about this last quarter, 100K. How do you feel? And what really has it hit you yet?
No, that has not. No, I'm going to admit that up front. That's been something that, like, that's a practice too. That's an everyday practice to process understanding the wonderful things that happen when you actually practice in your business and practice in your life, and you take it as practice and you learn and you iterate and you're honest with yourself about the shortcomings that you might have or that you have created or you might be fostering, and kind of need to find some folks to rearrange that. So I think this custom system that we've built has given me so much ease. When I started putting my clients in the system and actually recognizing and realizing the dollar volume from each client, and when I started building them in different pipelines, and I was able to visualize components of each of my business. So client, real estate referrals, clients that call me and need to buy a house somewhere that I don't practice real estate, I still know who can and who does the best. So a pipeline just for that, a pipeline for clients that I personally actively work with, a pipeline for clients that reached out, we started talking, and then they might really need 12 or 24 more months, or their timeline shifts for whatever reason, usually work. And then consulting as well. And so being able to see those numbers in actuality, even in quarter two, I was in total disbelief or in quarter one rather. So I was in total disbelief when quarter two started, and I was like, so it's been the best quarter ever yet again, and I would like to triple it. And that's what that number represented. And that's why I absolutely, like, we compound interested that guy so well. And so I took three quarters in the 30s, slightly increasing each quarter, and then a quarter that blasted through six figures and just really dialed it up. So when I first started creating the pipelines in my custom system, when I first started inputting the data, when I saw the numbers add up, I knew, I still have this homework because my business still runs day to day. I still have to go add my previous transactions from before I had this custom system so that those clients are even in that space. So I'm still actively engaged and big time working in the administrative back end of data management. And I didn't have that organization, and I didn't have that possibility for that consistency. And if you're just trying to run your consulting business by slapping together some duct tape and spreadsheets, I mean, like, you're going to get some duct tape results. And that's not a quality repair. It's not any, we all would cringe if we saw duct tape in a house. We'd cringe if we saw duct tape in our business anywhere. You don't want it to hold any of your deals together. So, like, having this custom system that I can adjust that reflects metrics that are important to me, like, I know for the first time ever exactly how my pipeline converts. I know where I can visualize where the weak spots are because I can see the percentages falling. I can see the numbers falling. I can try to better understand and iterate what that looks like and watch that refine and improve. And without being able to visualize that data, I've been a nerd for so long, without being able to visualize that data properly. And I don't even have Tableau. This is just a visualization of the dashboard that's native in this space, which as a data nerd, that's very impressive. And so the fact that I can go in and manage in a custom technology ecosystem my pipeline across two separate corporations that I run and take it from 32, 35, 37 a quarter to 115 a quarter is wild, and it's doable. And to look out at the next quarter and see that starting to assemble together, it almost feels like that scene in Fantasia where all the brooms come together and you're like, oh, look at this going. So it's so exciting. And so I'd say, like, back to your original question, like, no, it hasn't sunk in. And every time I get a chance to talk about it, or every time I get a chance, to think about how I'm reinvesting that in my family and my community and where I can place that money to take the best care of my business, my clients, how I can give back. I've really been enjoying doing those events and planning outreach and being able to be charitable and contribute more time to my community because I have better management. Like, I can give back in all of the ways that, as a 15-year philanthropy professional, also is incredibly meaningful to me as a person. And so being able to take my corporations and have them steward my workflow into something that is a transformational amount in such a short amount of time is something that, like, I couldn't. Every time I think I told you recently, every time I run into a solopreneur or somebody that is their own consultant, or they say they're starting consulting, I always say, like, how's that system going? Like, what kind of where are you putting those clients? What kind of CRM you got over there? And the questions are great. And I recommend, not to be cheesy, but like, I recommend this to every solopreneur who's willing to do the work. Because there are components where it used today. I'm building the system, I'm putting the flow in, and you're still out there practicing without that system. You're still actually kind of like in the flow and building the system to help raise yourself up a little bit. And I think that visualizing that and recognizing that part of the accountability of consistency and showing up is working, and putting the work in. And if I didn't have this structure, I could keep putting that work in and putting that work in, and it would never climb like this. I mean, I know data, and I've seen these numbers, and I've looked at them for businesses for 15 plus years now, and nonprofits and individuals, as I look at their real estate portfolios. And my business could not grow 3.5x in one quarter without this kind of structure, without this kind of collaborative management of me as a person, me as a corporation leader, me as a CEO, me as a woman, me as a person. And so it's just been so great to be in an environment that welcomes people with all these different identities. And we can talk about audience segmentation in ways that I don't think that I've ever found in corporate life when I was assembling databases for other people for their own profits. So it's nice, and it feels very tender, very open-hearted, and very warm to work in a space like that. And it truly speaks to the reward that's on the other side of that power of structure.
I'm going to try not to cry.
It's okay. I love you too. It's okay. We cry here.
So can you tell a little bit about how Reignite supported you in your visibility and branding presence? I think this is a really important piece of medley that is you, and I'd love to hear your version of that in the visibility.
So, and I think that this is something that you and I have talked about too, is I didn't feel, and even recently, I'm getting used to being visible. I have tended towards preferring invisibility because it's very simple. Um, but when I reached out and started working with your team and said, and was able to just deliver just like this, like my heart, like this is where my heart is in my work, like this is what I want to do. They created content that did not just make me like visible and more upfront, it made me magnetic. And so I feel like I am drawing and connecting with my clients in such an elevated way. It is me, but polished and refined. And it does, and it makes it accessible for the, I will say, it makes it accessible not for the everyman, for the everyman that I want to work with. As somebody who's trained to write for the everyman, as a persuasive writer by background and a marketer by background and an aggregate marketer, this is me but elevated. It's me, it's custom to who I am. There are, gosh, you guys have made so much. My website is beautifuljanehandle.com. /book a call. That's my favorite. that URL gets used so much. Everybody use that one. And but like the ebooks, the newsletters bi-weekly, the open house emails, the strategy conversations that we've had, the conversations about automations, like I don't have a Miro board yet. I didn't do all my homework, but I have my cute little, but like there's a workflow. Sometimes you got to write your brain down like that. And that's, as a consumer and a marketer, that's really valuable to me. And your team deeply understands market segments that are really generative in a way that I have not encountered in, frankly, some kind of like, BS development. We'd love to help develop your company. We're going to generate you some leads. This just made me but polished, me but elevated, me but targeted, me but niche marketed to who I want to work with. And it just feels cohesive. And I felt, even with, posting on social, I used to do it when I remembered or when I wasn't busy, and being able to have some support there in content creation and external engagement and sharing this knowledge. Because what also does realistically happen when your quarter elevates 3.5 times in 10 weeks, it's a lot, 8 weeks, frankly, you do need that automation. I was actually in quite a few client meetings, and between those highs and between those longer projects, I was not pretending that I didn't need to take time for myself, that I didn't need to have a siesta, and take a hike, literally. And so I just have this, it's, I don't say it lightly, but it feels like there is this magnetic draw. So I have people that come out of the woodwork now and they say, oh, I love your content. You have to be the agent that sells my house. Your reels are so funny and I learn so much from them. And I can only create so many funny reels without explicit lyrics that get shared by my brokerage on the internet. But I do love giving advice. And so the newsletters have been really great. And a lot of people connect with those. And that's new to me. People, message me on LinkedIn, hey, I heard your name and I looked you up and I love your website, or I've been watching you online, or my friend lives down the street from you and they love you and think that you do the best work with businesses in our area. It's been, again, it's magnetizing the clients that I wanted, and that's just easier. It's just nicer. Nobody likes to say no. And so when you have a client prospect meeting and somebody's not a right fit for you, it's kind of a challenge. But I also think that some of this mass influx has also challenged some of my own personal thoughts about like who I would work best with, what kind of personalities I work best with. And I have surprised myself quite a bit recently with clients that are just totally different from me. I mean, in like every respect. And we are now very close friends. Like the diversity and the richness of my life has skyrocketed because of this, even though I'm explaining niche marketing. Like the people who want to work with me are such a larger audience than I recognized. I thought I had identified my demographics pretty well, being in business for 15 and 5 years doing this. And I mean, I think that should be like one of the largest cautions for people is like, as a professional marketer with audience segmentation and persuasive writing background, I was pretty sure I knew who liked Jane Hammel's style for working with me. And it's many, many more people than I was recognizing. And so I think that that's the kind of thing that's invaluable. I would never have gotten that without connecting with the right team, which I mean, I personally believe is your team. So, I mean, it's just, you have to scale purposefully. And that's just been, I don't know, Reignite's been the best investment I've made in years. I already invested in one-on-one coaching because that is a really transformational thing to have in your pocket just in any part of your life. But adding Reignite and adding the intentionality of scale and understanding my industry better and understanding other adjacent industries better, thanks to the mix of people. I haven't spoken a ton directly to it out of just the personal privacy considerations for my colleagues and classmates, but the people that I've been able to meet through Reignite and through connecting with Rise, Reign, Rule have really been a real big up level. And it's, it feels magnetic to get friends like that too.
So
Yeah.
it's so beautiful. I love being able to see you reign. And I think if somebody's listening to this and thinking about joining Reignite, what would you say to that? Like, what would be your advice to them?
I don't, yeah, your money's never been worth more than investing in Reignite. Like I tell people all day long what a smart investment is. And I'm sure I've been wrong once or twice in 15 years, but I've never been wrong in real estate and I've never been wrong in business. And so, percentage wise, I'd say like, I'm hitting good on giving ROI advice. I'm batting 1,000 on giving ROI advice to individuals and companies personally. And I think that my own business's growth would speak to the fact that if you are a person that is willing to actually do the work, to commit, to be honest with yourself, to hear feedback that is real and not the HR critical feedback you might be used to taking, like real feedback that is like, if you're trying to expand your business, this is what expansion looks like. What is your intention in expanding and really examining those big answers? That's the right person for Reignite. And I think that like bring everyone who sounds like that and you want to make more money and you want to make this investment, like, come on, I'd love to learn from you too. Like you get in here.
I love it. Jane, I just want to say it's been an honor watching you reign in your space with like this beautiful heart, as you said, this intelligence, this resilience, and you've built it's not just a business. You've built a body of work that reflects your values and your precision and your power in many ways. And seeing you rise to six-figure quarters while staying true to yourself
Yeah.
is such a beautiful and an embodiment really of what Reignite was made for. So thank you for trusting me. Thank you for trusting our team, for showing others what's possible, for showing up and really stepping into your full alignment. More to come. I'm sure I'm going to be back with another feature of another ridiculous amount, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, I can't wait for quarter 4. And that's not something that anyone ever says in business. I can't wait. Quarter 2, banger. Quarter 3, looking hot. Quarter 4, whew, can't wait, girl. Thank you. I mean, I'm just so excited. Happy to be here.
Love it. I love it.
Thank you.